Kia ora, welcome to the Guerin Report on a Monday night. I hope your weekend was super, as sure was. I'll tell you why in a sec. Tonight, 3 separate seasons and components of the thoroughbred industry clash on one show. We talk jumps racing from Te Aroha as we wrap up great New Zealand weekend. Group 1 racing coming up at Te Aroha this week with the Howden Mile. And we got a little bit ahead of ourselves and talk Mickey G. He's back on the show tonight. Not me, the other one, the little one, the horse one, because we talk NZB sales coming up in January for the centenary of yearling sales in this country. But it was a huge weekend for the jumping community. It was a great New Zealand weekend, the hurdles on Friday and the steeplechase yesterday. A great crowd under the mountain, under the sun and blue skies at Te Aroha. I tell you who was up and about for it too. George Simon, our commentator with a few pearls. Let's go back and relive some of the highlights, human and equine, from Great New Zealand Steeplechase Day.
And they work out under the mountain of love here at Te Aroha, and the 953 metres of her looking majestic today, or if those of you of an older age, it's 3,127 feet. Tell me, I'm the smartest multi-race caller in the world. As they go under the palms, those palms were planted in 1973. Can you believe that? Well, you shouldn't. I just made it up. Now, can I suggest, if there's anybody here that loves jumps racing, can you give us a big cheer as they go past the judge now with 1 lap to go? And there's only 10 lengths over the field. I've got Rick McIntosh in the commentary box right behind me. He said, that's better than Warrnambool, mate. 2 to go as they come towards the home turn. In the Ben and Ryan Foot Racing, Great New Zealand Steeplechase, the favourite. Jesco comes to the second to last. He's 4 lengths in front. Coming after it, Mr. Fabulous. Tikahu. In behind them, then we've got Run Jacko Run. 1 to go for Jesco. He's over the last. He's 2 lengths in front. Mr. Fabulous. Oh, out went Run Jacko Run. It's Jesco and Sean Fannin. Mr. Fabulous in second from Tikahu. Jesco and the frack colours will win the Ben and Ryan Foot Racing Great New Zealand Steeplechase. Sean Fannin does it again.
Remarkable debut season for Jesco. Only started steeplechasing on May the 11th. Now the hot favourite to be a jumper of the year. Hazel and Sean Fanning are the people who have taken him through that process. Here is a very proud Sean after becoming the first winner of the Great New Zealand Steeplechase. That's pretty cool. You're the first ever winner of the Great New Zealand Steeplechase. Does it feel any different from winning a Great Northern?
Oh, it's exactly the same feeling. You never get sick of that winning buzz in such a big race. And here today is a huge crowd on course and such great atmosphere. So it's a huge thrill. It
must be a thrill on a whole range of ways, because the frack club's involved. Obviously you and Hazel train the horse, your family's here, but he's been one of the poster boys for this rejuvenation of jumps racing, Sean.
100%, it makes it all so much more special. I mean, last year jumps racing was looking for a lifeline, and they got to put their heads together and came up with some new great new innovations this year, and including this carnival here. And yeah, he's shown us a lot of promise at home. We've backed him, and he's paid us back with. Like I say, he won the first steeplechase of the season at Wanganui and been there throughout the whole season, and to win the big finale today is a huge effort in itself.
I know you can't think about this now, but I know you also think very deeply about your horses. 70 kgs today, West Coast, maybe one more season, but the Cossacks are on the way out, so very quickly you're going to be the 73 kg horse. Does that make you start thinking about Warrnambool next year, or going somewhere where he's not going to be the 73 kg horse?
It's hard to say. I guess you never really know until they try. I think today showed he's got great staying ability. I guess he's been up a long time this season, so we need a good holiday. I think maybe Warrnambool might come up a bit soon, but I think probably a suitable race over the last few years that I've seen, maybe the Grand National in Australia in August. Like I say, Jesco still probably retains a little bit of flat speed as well. So we'll give him a good long holiday and that. But I say if we were to look further afield, that would probably be the race we'd look at.
Does that concern you, the fact that after one season of jumping, he might end up as the 73k horse?
it is very hard, but unfortunately there's no other option. I can't change the handicap system, and with the lack of horses around, there's not a huge depth of jumpers. I mean, if they put 2 or 3 together quite quickly, they soon shoot to the top, and I guess you just got to learn to place them properly, and we'll have to have a good think about what we do with them next year and see how he comes up. But yeah.
All right, jump season 2025 is over. Now, I know you love it, and so do heaps of our viewers. As unbiasedly as possible, is this part of the industry genuinely heading in the right direction?
I think so. Looking at field sizes this year, I would say yes. We had good support from some overseas riders this year. I don't think we had last year we had a battle to start a full field of jumpers, and this year we did it on numerous occasions. Probably localising the meetings like they did this year. Not having so many jumps meetings that force horses to get full fields. We're at the end of the season. The numbers improved throughout the season, and on our final day here we had great numbers Friday and again today, so I'd say yes, on a whole, yes.
That was the culmination of what's been a real renaissance for jumps racing in New Zealand this year. A lot of different people have made that work in a lot of different ways, but somebody who 12 months ago was part of the panel to review New Zealand jumps racing, who is out there every day with jumpers and on the phone every night talking to jumps people, is Jess Brosnan. We spoke to her about this remarkable resurgence of the industry in the last 4 or 5 months. Well, the jump season's almost over. This time last year, very different situation. You were part of the review panel to see whether it was going to continue to go ahead. Have you been satisfied with the results?
We've been very satisfied. Everything's up, the bedding's up, everything's up, the field sizes are up. We've got the jockeys here. I think it's gone more than well. It's
so how has it gone better? Because there's been a lot of different people trying to help, but what's been the crucial factor to making this jump season what feels significantly better than last year?
I think getting a bit of the prize money up. We've had a few extra special conditions races. They've been 40,000. Every time we step out here now, if you won a race, you run for 40,000. Getting the stakes up, $200,000 race today. We've got a full field. Having the riders here, quality riders, people can bet on them, and they're competent.
The fields also have been bigger, which is great for the TRB and for Entain. It creates more turnover. How's that come about? Has it almost been a case of going trainer to trainer and saying, wouldn't you love a jumper? Wouldn't this horse be a good jumper? Has it been a viral spread?
Yeah, well, one of the hardest things we find is getting jumpers. And there's people out there wanting to pay good money for jumpers. It's just sourcing them. And I think this year, by basing a few of the overseas riders with people and in areas that have jumpers, they've had those people there to school them and educate them and bring them through. You know what I mean? There's no worries now. Can you get your horse schooled at the track in the morning? Can you get it educated? Because it's perfect.
Are you confident, as somebody who really cares about the subject, that there'll be a continued flow-on effect? If it's 20% better this year, do we think it can be 30% better next year? I was talking to Josh Parker earlier. He was saying that he thinks more riders will come out because the ones who have come have had success. So have we started a snowball effect?
Yep, definitely. We've already had 2 weeks ago at the Pakuranga meeting. I've had 3 UK boys say, hey, what do I need to do to come out next year to ride? It's already happening already, and after this weekend we'll step straight back into reviewing what we can change from this year, what we can make better, and I'll start advertising for jockeys probably tomorrow.
What about the South Island? It's a curious situation that we basically don't have jumps racing in the South Island apart from the Grand National, and yet ironically there's a lot of horses bred down there which probably suit being jumpers. Is that an area we need to be digging into? Is there any hope in your mind we could see more jumps racing in the South Island?
I'm hopeful we can get it back there, maybe not to the extent that it used to be. I mean, I'd never gone to Christchurch until last year, and I actually got to see and meet a lot of the people, and this year we probably had 6 or 7 trainers down there that would have had jumpers had they been able to get them schooled and educated. So perhaps we need to look at organising a couple of jump schools leading into the Christchurch Carnival, and perhaps putting on a hurdle race down there 2 weeks out from it. So that gives them 3 chances to run, and if those horses go well, hopefully they'd bring them back up to the north and campaign them here at this carnival and the Pakuranga Day and things. I think the horses are there and the trainers are there. We just need to get it back on down there. If we can get 1 extra day put on next year, well then you'd like to think if it was successful, the next year we'd get 2 more days for them. And I mean, we'd take a load down and support them,
A sensitive subject, age. A lot of the jumps trainers are seniors and they are very experienced. Is that a case that people who have horses who will end up jumpers are going to send them to these people? Because wouldn't it be great to have some of our under 40 trainers having these jumps horses coming through for, of course, future sustainability?
Yeah, I mean, Paul's got Karina, she's going to obviously carry it on. Mark's got Portia there, she does a lot behind the scenes with all those horses and things.
So there's enough younger people coming through? Yeah,
I think there is enough younger people coming through. It's going to get easier. It's going to get easier to have a jumper,
It's an amazing thing if you fall in love with it. We're here today and you forget how wonderful jumps racing is and how different it is from flat racing. It's a small community at the moment, but it is a community I can see incredibly invested in what's going on here.
Yep, definitely. Like, we are a breed of our own. We won't see these people till probably May next year, till we're getting ready at Te Aroha and that. But we'll go on a road trip and visit them. We've got Castle Point Beach races after Christmas and things. You know what I mean? Like, we all keep in touch, but we literally don't see any of them. But yeah, well, it's all right. It's looking good.
We thank Jess and people like her who have helped keep this segment of the industry going. But there's no point having fences and horses if you've got no jumps jockeys. Joshua Parker has come to New Zealand. He's won a Grand National and he is one of the best advertisements for getting more riders from overseas to come here. We asked him how realistic that is.
Jumps racing over here is picked up massively this year compared to last year. A lot more riders, a lot more horses, so I'm looking forward to next season as well. It should be good fun.
You mentioned the pickup. Part of that was the need for more riders. So how many inquiries are you getting from guys or girls back home wanting to know how it's going and maybe with an interest in coming out here?
Yeah, no, always getting interest. A big thing was last season. A lot of people were realising they post quite a lot of social media of the horses have been winning or even placing or just even having fun around here. I mean, the live fences are great to jump over and, there's a lot of opportunities over here. So people were messaging me a lot last season saying, where are you riding at the moment? How's it going? Is it any good? And I was just being very positive about it and said, yeah, it's great fun. There's loads of opportunities, which is what we lack of in the UK. Unless you're based with a very trainer that's got a big yard and lots of horses and good owners. Where over here, all the owners are pretty darn good. They're more than happy to put you on, and even if you make a mistake, they're pretty forgiving, which is great. Because that's the biggest thing. You keep getting these opportunities, and the only way you can get better is by keep riding. But no, people are always messaging me saying, what's it like? Is there an opportunity for me to come over? And I say, don't say no. Just come over, give it a go. There's plenty of good trainers over here, like the Brosnans. Kevin Myers is great. He's always having young people come through and putting them on horses. He does the same with the apprentices. He does the same with the jump jockeys. He's always trying to give everyone a bit of a bone to throw and get us on a horse. But no, I mean, everyone over here is great. They're all friendly, and everyone I've met has been really friendly and always, said, you're more than happy to ride this. And you say, yeah, go on, and then next thing you know, you're getting phone calls going, do you fancy riding my horse? And then next thing you know, you get another phone, do you want to ride my horse? You're going, yeah, your phone's going off all the time. It's great, because you're thinking...
One of the funny questions, Josh, you told me off air was people contacting you from over home and saying, are you getting paid to ride? Because obviously in the point-to-point racing, which is kind of like trials over here a little bit, the point-to-point riders don't get paid, or you might get a little backhander once in a while. So a lot of people interested in the fact that you're getting 400 a ride.
Yeah, so obviously when I was back in the UK, I was riding Poynton, and as I said, I'd be very lucky to pick up fuel for money, you know, to even get there and back. You know, sometimes that costs you.
Why would anybody do that?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is you can drive there and you go, well, I've actually cost myself money riding this horse today, and yeah, so it's great to actually get paid over here. And you know, in the UK you only get 8% of the prize money, where over here you get 10, and this prize money over here is a lot more over here than it is in the UK. Where I mean, in the UK the maidens are only £3,000, you know, 6,000 New Zealand dollars, but over here we're running for like, you know, $20,000. It's great money, and this season obviously the money has gone up even more. So everything's just great. The money aspect is brilliant, and riding track work's pretty darn good. You know, you pick up nice horses to ride in the morning, you can rattle through 10, and you've earned good money, and then you come to the race days and it's $400 a ride. You can't complain about it, and there's always rides. You know,
what about the standard, Josh? Like, obviously the standard of the good English and particularly Irish jumpers is exceedingly good, but in the run-of-the-mill meetings back home, how would these type of horses compare with those?
It's very different, you know, it is very different, because the jumping's very different in the UK. Like, I always put it as, it took me a long time, and Kevin helped me massively with learning how these horses in New Zealand jump.
In what way?
Because it's so much quicker, and the horses are normally flat horses that have come through jumping, so they're not as sleek over the jumps. So obviously in the UK we breed jumpers, and it is, you know, they're jumping from, you know, 3, 4, and they're having show jumping lessons. Like when I was in the UK, we had Yogi Breisner come in and give us lessons. He did the same. It was as much of a lesson for us. It was a lesson for the horses. He was doing pole work and stuff like that. Where over here, it's not like that. It's very different. So it's very much of, as I said, Kevin taught me a lot to, you know, say, you know, if there's a big stride there, either be really positive or sit back. Where in the UK, you know, horses are pretty good at fiddling out of situations and stuff like that. But it's still good fun, you know, and I recommend it to anyone. The jump racing is brilliant, and the horses still jump brilliantly. I mean, I've been unlucky that Captain's Run's not running, but what an incredible jumper he is. So, you know, you watch him round Rickton, it was bottomless mud, and how the way he jumped over that last was incredible.
So do you think there's more chance that we might be able to get 2 or 3 more English or Irish riders to come out here in the future?
Yeah, I have no doubt. I mean, you look at all the English people that come over this year, they'll all be wanting to come back next season, and they've all been posting on social media. So I imagine that their friends will have seen that as well, because I'm not the only person, and, you know, it's gone from being myself posting it to now you've got Ashley Dascombe, who's just come back over. You know, he went back to the UK for a bit, he's flown back over. I mean, he's come on the other side of the world to come back and to go back home again. So it's good. I mean, Ellie Callwood, she's had a great season over here. Obviously you've got Jordan Hart that's just come back over from Australia. I mean, there's plenty more lads that will definitely be following us, what we're doing, and they'll be thinking, can I give that a chance? And same with the girls, you know, Ellie Callwood's been great, and Portia, you know, both girls are thinking, because that's a problem, there's not as much opportunity in the UK for girls, where over here there's plenty. You know, Emily Farr's doing great, Portia's had a great season with Barry the Cash for the season before, and, you know, Ellie Callwood's had a few nice winners, so, you know, what can you ask?
The thing about jumps racing is, of course, people like Jess and Joshua are going to say it's great and we should have it. Well, I spoke to Sam Moncur from the TAB and the boss of Entain here in New Zealand, and said, is all this shaking through to turnover? Sam said, yes, look, the bottom line is we are getting more turnover on jumps racing. Now, to put that in perspective, it's not a huge component of what the TAB and Entain do. They bet on thousands and thousands of races a year, and there's not that many jumps races. But it is getting better, which is important because we want to roll into next season with some momentum. But let's take a step half the way back, away from jumps racing, because jumps people are going to say it's great. Of course they are. It's their source of income. What about somebody who doesn't make his money from jumps racing, but has been to the mountaintop there, but has been to the mountaintop of a Cox Plate win with a horse like Poetic Prince? We asked somebody who knows, a Hall of Famer. Here's John Wheeler on the importance of jumps racing in the fabric of the New Zealand thoroughbred industry. Is it still important in this modern new age of racing to keep jumps racing going?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Why?
The main reason really is we need horsemen. We're running short of people that break in horses and involved in like barrier assistance, and all those people have to be horsemen, proper horsemen that can do the job properly. And it's a career pathway for a lot of people. A lot of our best jumping riders become trainers, become float drivers, all administrators, everything. Like they cover the whole gamut because they're in it because they love it. Most people in jumping love the racing. It's not in for the ego or anything. Most people don't make a lot of money out of it, but it's a career pathway for young guys who are interested in racing. Most of our farriers come through there, so it's just vital that we keep this going.
You'll be off to the Howden Mile next week with Herbert, so you've got good horses racing in Group 1s, but different feel here today. It felt more like, I don't know, maybe people were more engaged. Is that just me, or did you feel that way?
Yeah, I felt that. I certainly did. Like, it reminded me a little bit of Oakbank in its glory days. Oakbank, of course, is gone now, but crazy decision, but they did it. They used to get 65,000 there on a Saturday at Oakbank, and now they're down to about 2,000 just for flat races. So it's a niche market. And but I think the country racing is amazing. Like, I love going to Warrnambool, I love going to Oakbank, I love going to places like this. You know, it's fantastic the weekend here.
We seem to be good at it. You were very good at it, of course. You trained, I think, 8 or 9 Oakbank major winners. You trained, of course, St Stephen's doing the Nakayama jump. Is it a pathway here or an income stream we're not exploiting, the chance to sell jumpers to the Guerin Mars or the people in Australia? Because we seem to talk a lot about money in the game these days, but these people probably deserve some chance to make a buck as well.
Yeah, that's right. We explore that a little bit, but probably not to its as far as we should be. Like, there's a lot of raise your flags in Australia because they've been very good jumpers, and the majority of the horses in the jumping races in Australia and Victoria are New Zealand bred, probably 50%. So, yeah, I think we explore that. The thing that's died a little bit really is sending horses to England. When David Barron used to do it in the old days, and Kenny Brown, and they used to send a lot of horses to England, and we had a great name up there, but that's died off, and maybe it can be resurrected.
If I put you in charge, you were in charge of NZTR or Entain or TRB or the whole shooting box, which I'm not sure that'd be a good idea, Wheels, but it'd be bloody good fun. If I put you in charge, would you keep jumps racing going, totally unbiasedly, forgetting the fact you used to train them? Would you keep this going for the reasons you just outlined?
Absolutely. Absolutely, and I don't think it's a money thing necessarily. Like the amateur riders today, there were 2 races for them today. It's their big day. They got 2 races, and they only have about 15 races per annum. But most of those people are the people that are at the major race meetings, leading horses around, hosing horses down, and they become trainers and become jockeys. Like, a lot of our amateurs become top jockeys. And people forget that. Like, Jason Collett was an amateur rider, and Rosie Myers was an amateur rider, Kelly Myers. There were a host of them. If I had 10 minutes, I could name them all. But it's another pathway, and we just have to encourage those people, young people coming through the sport.
Food for thought there from one of the greats, John Wheeler, to everybody who has helped save jumps racing, to NZTR for having an appropriate but robust review last year. We thank you. In my experience, if you lose things from the racing game, you don't tend to get them back. Onwards and upwards, we'll go jumping again in 2026. I tell you where else we'll go in 2026 is Karaka. Several times, but most importantly for the sales, the 100th New Zealand sale of yearlings. This one, of course, these days run by New Zealand Bloodstock. And our little boy, Mickey G, who we introduced you to on the show last year at Cambridge Stud, is going to be heading there. So let's just catch up on how things have been going. This is him way back in May. So he's a bigger version of this. Now what happens is they go outside, they eat, and they grow. That's their job. But they also go through a system where they are taught to lead and to get shoes on and all those wonderful things that a horse is going to need in part of its life. So this footage is him back in May, learning how to become, so we say, ingratiated into the human world. For those who forget, he's by sort of state, and of course, he's a half to the two-time Group 1 winner, Charwolf. So what happens is they go through this process, get used to being in a halter and being around things and getting in trucks and having people brush them and pin shoes on them. Then, over the last 4 or 5 months, what he's done is at Cambridge Stud, at this beautiful home, he's pretty much spent most of his time in the paddock, eating, growing. That's every 6 weeks he comes in for 3 or 4 days. So let's go forward, that was him in May, to September, Mickey G. This is him now, as you can see, a lot bigger. He's come up in the bum, he's started to come up in the wither, and there's a lot more of him. So what happens now is every 6 weeks, in between eating grass and getting bigger, he comes in and he learns a bit more. He'll learn how to be handled. He'll learn more about being around people. He had his x-rays done in August, and then NZB, their team, comes out and inspects the horse to make sure he looks right. Well, he does. So the good news is he's heading to book 1 for Karaka in late January. That's immediately after the Karaka Millions. What happens next? And we'll take you through this process because it's not just about him, it's about all the yearlings, and if you've never seen a yearling prep, is he'll come in mid-October, and from that point onwards, he'll pretty much be on a full yearling prep with around 70 other yearlings from Cambridge Stud, and they'll learn all the important stuff about this sort of stuff, being groomed up and being looked after and learning to walk and keep growing and have all that stuff and education done by the team there in the Cambridge Stud yearling team. So he's going to be one of the stars of Karaka. We love him, and it's cool that we can take you through that process. So by the time we get to that centenary sale, you sort of know how all these yearlings get there because a lot of them have similar sort of preps. When you buy a horse there, you hope they end up here. Te Aroha this Saturday, the Howden Mile is a Group 1, the second Group 1 of the season. Now, this is the really interesting part of this market. This is the all-in market, futures market. Now, there's expected to be rain in the Waikato this week, and there could well be a heavy track. I don't know that. Meteorologists are quite often wrong, but that's what they're telling us. I've spoken to the trainers of all the main players, and they have said if it's heavy, we're still going to start because we need to start here to be able to start in the Livermore on the 18th at Ellerslie. But, here's the but, one exception. Sam Burgess saying today, if it gets to a proper heavy, Quintessa is probably a no. So she's $5 in that market. Legato's a yes, La Creek's a yes, El Vencedor's a yes. But question mark over Quintessa. Now, if she doesn't start and you back her here in the futures market, you don't get your money back. So my advice on Quintessa, wait till this market goes final field on Wednesday because she'll be declared in the field. And if it gets too heavy for her, and Sam's talking a heavy 9, heavy 10, and she's pulled out, you get your money back. So no value in backing her on the futures, back her in the final field if that's the way you want to go. But pretty much, regardless of what the weather does, we're going to have all the hot pots at Te Aroha for the Howden Mile coming up on Saturday. It's going to be a huge day there. Just on the Guineas, hostility, not heading to the Waikato Guineas. He will head to Matamata the week after, and he who dares will be the main representative for Te Aka and the Guineas this Saturday, which runs alongside this meeting. Friday night, we head to the Valley in Melbourne for Group 1 racing, and Alabama Lass will be there. She went to breakfast with the stars this morning. Craig Williams rode her. Good reports, but it's become a lot tougher than the race she raced in last time when she ran second. Lady Shenandoah for Chris Waller, a very, very good horse, is heading to the Manikato. She is the equal, even money favourite, and Alabama Lass has slid down to the $11 mark because it's a really good field. I'm not sure Angel Capital will be there, but the top two in the market will be. So a big challenge, the Manikato Group 1 on your trackside coming up on Friday night. Just on the subject of Craig Williams, we were lucky enough last week to go speak to him in his home. And over the next 2 weeks on the Guerin Report, we're going to talk about Craig Williams the man, Craig Williams the jockey. It is a fascinating insight to a guy with an incredible life going through an incredible time as he raises money for the victims of the war in Ukraine. That's coming up over the next 2 weeks here on the Guerin Report. But between now and then, we have some great Group 1 racing coming up on both sides of the Tasman. Stick around on trackside this week. You'll get to see all of that. We here on the Guerin Report, back next Monday at 8 p.m.